What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another picks and predictions video. UFC Fight Night, Barboza versus Murphy. We're going to cover this entire card, go over my picks, my predictions, starting with the prelims all the way to the main event. If you're new to the channel, smash that like button and subscribe, and let's get right into it. First fight on the card, we have Emily Ducati against Vanessa Demopoulos. Demopoulos 10-5 as a pro, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Emily Ducati 13-8, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Vanessa's 35 years of age. Emily Ducati only 30. And you know what? I'm going with the favorite on this one. I'm going with Emily Ducati. She's better all around. Overall faster, a better striker. Both are pretty strong and willing to strike, but I feel like the little monster Vanessa throws a lot at air, and she gets hit a lot when she decides to stand and throw. Vanessa has good takedowns, and she doesn't get absolutely dominated. It's mostly just on the feet against better strikers. Ducati's faced better competition. She's younger, more experience. We're going with the favorite at -275. Let's move on to the next one. Next, we have Atengli against Clayton Rodriguez. Clayton Rodriguez impressed us on his Contender Series fight where he had an unbelievable brawl against a 6-1 guy. His UFC run has been meh, as he's gone 1-2 in his last 3 UFC fights. Split decision to CJ Vergara. Knocked out Shannon Ross, but who hasn't at this point? And then lost via arm triangle choke to Farid Bashrat. He is the favorite at -185. He's 28 years of age, out of Brazil. Going up against the Mongolian Knight, though, who has a lot of experience, only 32 years of age. Trains at a Fight Ready, so pretty good gym in Scottsdale. 16-9-2. Yeah, he lost his last fight, but he went to a decision against Chris Gutierrez. And Chris Gutierrez is good, okay? Chris Gutierrez is good. The Mongolian Knight just refused to check them leg kicks. Before then, he was on a 2-fight win streak. Overall, he has 5 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 8 decisions in his MMA career. 1-0-1 championship, 4-2-1 in the UFC. Good everywhere, not great everywhere. Where Clayton Rodriguez has the potential to be a great fighter, but that potential is fading. He might be closer to his floor than his ceiling at this point, ladies and gentlemen. 4 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 2 decisions. I'm rolling the dice one more time, and I'm saying I'm rolling the dice on the favorite here, but I feel like it's more of a dice roll. We're going Clayton Rodriguez at -185. The Mongolian Knight is a great underdog, coming in at +150. Rodriguez has 2 UFC losses have been bad. I get it. He does a very nice striking technique. He is good at scrambling, decent grappling, fancy striker, and this is kind of like prospect versus MMA veteran. Clayton Rodriguez, it's time to turn things around. This isn't an easy opponent to do that by any means, but definitely a beatable opponent if you are a legit UFC prospect. Atengli is well-rounded. He's fought good opponents. I'm iffy on this one, but I'm going with the Brazilian. Let's move on to the next one. Next, we have Pierre Rodriguez against Adrian Carnelosi. I'm going to go with Pierre Rodriguez on this one. Carnelosi, though she has arms twice the size of me, she's not a quick striker. She's strong, but only really explosive early in the fight. 14-3 as a pro. Pretty good resume here. 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Has looked good in her UFC fights. She did lose to Lupita Godinez in her last fight. Before them was on a 2-fight win streak. Pierre Rodriguez, 9-1 as a pro. She's the favorite at -175. She hits hard. She has quick hands. Former LFA champion. Despite actually having some KO power and decent hands, she can take women down at will. Solid resume on the regional scene and in the UFC. I just don't see where Carnelosi is beating her. I don't think Carnelosi knocks her out. I don't think Carnelosi has as quick hands. Carnelosi does have 9 KO TKOs, which is very impressive. But you look at Pierre Rodriguez, 5 KO TKOs to her name as well. And despite her having some decent grappling, she's got 0 submissions because she's never had to. She's employed ground and pound and control to win her fights. I'm going with Rodriguez. Again, Carnelosi, she's okay, just not as quick. And despite having that one punch power, it's just not her movements, her technique, not as explosive after the first round. So we're going Rodriguez on this one. Next, we have Abus Magomedov against Warlley Alves. He is the same age as Abus Magomedov. However, it just seems that he has a lot more miles on him, despite being the same age, despite Abus fighting more than him in his career. Now, I don't think he's been in as many wars as Warlley Alves, and Warlley Alves not on a good run right now, 4-1 in his last 5 fights on a 3-fight win streak, and he got knocked out by Ikram Aliskerov in his last fight. Abus Magomedov has not had the best UFC run since coming over as well. Yeah, he beat Dustin Stoltzfus via knockout, and that was impressive, but lost to Sean Strickland and Kyle Bahayo right after. Now, he looked good in the first round against Strickland and completely gassed. Bahayo, he did take him to a decision. So there is that. Warlley Alves, man, in his prime, was very, very good, very, very dangerous, and he still has that big knockout power. He does have decent takedown defense. He does have some grappling. But despite being the same age as Abus Magomedov, Magomedov just seems fresh. He seems more healthy. I don't think either of these guys are going to show off a tremendous gas tank. But if Magomed doesn't gas in the first round, he's going to win this fight. So I honestly think this is closer to a layup for him, just given where Warlley Alves is in his career. So we're going Abus Magomedov on this one. -250, he's the favorite. And again, I just think Warlley Alves, he's done at the UFC level. We'll probably see him fight in the PFL. I don't think Alves will be able to put a high pace on Abus. He's just a big, hard striker now. Abus is bigger, longer, more dangerous. Looking at the Bahayo fight, and even back at the Strickland fight, in hindsight, not the worst losses, right? Not the worst losses. I don't think he will gas as hard as he did against Strickland. Hopefully he paces himself a little bit more in the first round. And again, if he doesn't gas himself in the first, he'll probably get that KO TKO, likely in the second round. But regardless, Abus Magomedov, that's my pick. Let's move on to the next one. Next, we have Tamires Vidal against Melissa Gatto. Ooh. Melissa Gatto, I think, is a better striker. I think she has better grappling. Do I think she's as strong? No, but she's a little bit taller and a little bit lankier than that of Vidal. I understand why Gatto is the favorite. She is dangerous. She actually has knockout power, but she's on 2-fight losing streak against 2 really good opponents and close decisions. Close fight against Tracy Cortez. Very close fight against Ariane Lipski, who are 2 very good competitors in her division. Tamires Vidal, unproven in the UFC thus far, got a great knockout victory, a flying knee victory against Ramona Pascual, but Ramona Pascual was 6-3 at that time. And then she lost to Montserrat Rendon, who's 5-0 via split decision. Man, Vidal is the massive underdog here, and I'm going with her. That is right. Gatto should win. I get it on paper, but I like Vidal. I've liked what I've seen on the regional scene. She lost a close fight in her last one, like I said. She's decent everywhere. Hits hard. Never been KO'd. Gatto, though, overall is the better fighter. She's well-rounded, fought better competition. Arguably the better grappler as well. And despite her being a little bit taller, I will say that Vidal has just the overall strength advantage. Her grappling's solid too, and it was shown on the regional scene. And she has 2 really good wins against Braga and Perez too. So I'm taking a chance on this one at +300. Women's MMA, hungry prospect. Yeah, we're going with Vidal. She's only 25 years of age. Actually, shoot, man, Gatto's only 28. I think she can weather the storm. We're going Tamires Vidal. Let's move on to the next one. Next, we have Oumar Sy against Tuco Tokkos. I'm going to go Oumar Sy. That is right. Both these guys have a pretty damn good resumes. Tuco Tokkos on a 3-fight win streak right now, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Oumar Sy 9-0. He is undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. Tuco, 6 KO TKO, 2 submission, 2 decision, 3-0 in Fury, He's fought twice in Bellator. Oh, yeah. His last 3 fights haven't been that great, though. Beat a 19-10 guy, 1-7, and 3-2. And even lost on road to UFC against Mingyang Zhang. He was 15-6. Before then, put a decent win streak together. Beat a 3-1, 5-1, and 9-3 guy. Lost on road to FC has just been crushing cans on Shuto Brazil and Fury again. Oumar Sy, on the other hand, has just been lighting it up. 4 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 2 decisions. 3-0 in KSW. And he's fought some really good opponents. Yeah, his last 3 opponents, 8-2, 19-8, 26-17. Way better than his counterpart here. And the MMA guru actually hit the nail on the head on this one in his predictions video. Tucos has apparently popped before, and C's used to fighting bigger, juicier guys in KSW. Absolute monsters there that he has manhandled. So even though Tokkos is a former PD abuser, hell, if he's still got a little some in his system, I don't think that will matter for C, as he's used to it. C's well-rounded. He hits hard, solid striking, good enough in the grappling. And yeah, Tokkos' resume is just whack. He has experience. He's fought professionally 13 times, but it's just not the greatest resume. Where Oumar Sy's is way more impressive, man. Way more impressive. He's fought in KSW, 100% fight, Eagle FC against notable names. So yeah, Oumar Sy minus 270, layup, in my opinion. On to the next one. We have Tom Nolan versus Victor Martinez. This one's a good one, actually. This one's a good one, and it's crazy to see Tom Nolan at the minus 450 favorite. I am going to pick Tom Nolan to win this one. The odds seem a little wild. Like, Victor Martinez is no schmuck. He's former Fury champion, 32 years of age, 13-5 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights, only losing his last fight to Jordan Levitt, though, KO TKO. That's why the odds are so whack. However, Tom Nolan lost his last fight to Nicholas Mota. So why? Again, why? I'm going Tom Nolan. Like I said, it sucks he got smacked by Mota. Tom Nolan's better all around. Solid resume for how young he is and for how young his pro MMA record is. Good amateur run, though, so it's not like he doesn't have any experience at all. He did go 6-1 as an amateur and developed an eternal MMA where he actually fought some decent opponents. 2-0 when he was 2-0, 7-1, 9-6, 11-1 on Contender Series. Again, Martinez has fought some really good guys as well. He's got 8 KOs in his pro MMA career. Was on a great win streak coming into the UFC, but yeah, lost your debut against Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt TKO'd you. Oof. Martinez does have KO power, more fights, but not in the best promotions, and his resume, other than fighting in Fury, where he fought some good guys and actually won a belt there. Tom Nolan, that's the pick. Big train, let's go. Next fight on the card here, Angela Hill, Luana, Pinheiro. We're going with Angela Hill. She's way better. She's way better. Good counter wrestling, good grappling, really good striking. And Angela Hill, don't let her record fool you. She has been robbed of decisions up and down her resume, and recently as well. Other than getting beat up by Mackenzie Dern, you could argue the Jandiroba fight was close, okay? I think she beat Amanda Lemos. I think she beat Tisha Pennington. She 100% beat Michelle Waterson-Gomez, all right? Angela Hill, overkill. She's a hard opponent. Despite her being almost 40 years of age, she doesn't look like that in the cage. She's quick. She still hits hard. Keeps the fights on the feet, where her boxing, her kickboxing, her pocket strikes and strikes at range usually get the better of her opponents. Luana Pinheiro, she's 11-2. She's only the slight underdog at plus 130. She's awful. She's awful. She's not going to win this fight. She's not going to win this fight. Angela Hill, that's the pick. Way better all around. Way better boxing. Pinheiro's slower despite being younger. And Pinheiro's, she's not going to finish Hill. She really isn't. She's not going to knock her out. She's not going to submit her. I know she has 5 submissions in her pro MMA career. It's not going to happen. Angela Hill's going to win this one, or she's going to be absolutely robbed of a split decision. Let's move on to the next one. The return of Adrian Yanez going up against Vinicius Salvador. I got Adrian Yanez in this one. 16-5 as a pro for Yanez. He's on a 2-fight losing streak right now. Despite going 5-0 in the UFC, not necessarily beating the best competition either. Takes a step up in competition, gets knocked out to Rob Font, and then Jonathan Martinez takes out his legs, ladies and gentlemen. Vinicius Salvador, on the other hand, lost to CJ Vergara, lost to Victor Altamirano. He knocked out Shannon Ross on Contender Series, but again, who hasn't knocked out Shannon Ross at this point, right? I'm not the biggest Vinicius Salvador fan. He's okay. He's only 27 years of age, so he does have time to continue to train and to improve. But Adrian Yanez, I mean, this is the level of opponent that Adrian Yanez beats. This is the level of opponent that Adrian Yanez outboxes, and just shows why he is in the UFC. Fighting back down in the basement of the rankings is Adrian Yanez. Overall, he's just way better. Both these guys are coming off losses, but I do think Adrian Yanez is, maybe jiu-jitsu straight up against Salvador isn't the best, but these guys ain't going to be playing no jiu-jitsu. Salvador has okay leg kicks, but Yanez, way better boxing, good enough wrestling to counter whatever Vinicius Salvador will throw at him. Yanez, 10 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 4 decisions. Stud in LFA, 5-2 in the UFC. But yeah, you look at the guys who he beat in the UFC. Victor Rodriguez, Gustavo Lopez, Randy Costa, Davey Grant, Tony Kelly, right? Although that Tony Kelly one was very satisfying. Anyways, Adrian Yanez probably going to TKO him or knock him out at some point in the fight. Featured fight coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. We have Ramiz Brahimaj versus Themba Gorimbo. Now, man, I went back and forth on this one. 10-4. Brahimaj, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, plus 170. I do like him as an underdog because he's a submission specialist. And Themba Gorimbo is better on his feet. Now, Themba does have incredible scrambles. Themba is very strong and tough to control on the ground unless you are at an elite level. And is Brahimaj at the elite level? God, I don't think so. Trains out of a great gym, 0 KO TKOs, 10 submissions, 4-2 in the LFA and 2 in the UFC. Look at the guys that he submitted. 6-4 guy. Lost to Court McGee. Now, I love Court McGee, but you lost to Court McGee in 2022, dude. Rear naked choke to a 6-3 guy in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? He lost to Max Griffin, submitted a 6-3 guy, lost to Court McGee, who was 20-10 and 40, and then beat Mikael Gilmore, 6-4 via rear naked choke. And if you even look at his fights on Contender Series, or on LFA, he's beaten some decent guys, but he's only subbed guys on the regional scene. Now, some of these guys are legit, but he's only subbed guys on the regional scene who have a regional record who deserve to be there. I'm sorry, Mikael Gilmore, Sasha Palatnikov, you don't deserve to be in the UFC. And those are the guys that this guy is subbing. Gorimbo, on the other hand, he's dangerous, man. He's dangerous. 12-4 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights on a 2-fight win streak, coming off a great decision victory against Takashi Sato and a knockout on Pete Rodriguez. Like I said, I was undecided for a while on this one. After just digging into Ramiz's record a little bit and watching some tape on both these guys, I got Themba Gorimbo winning this one. He's the favorite at -205. Brahimaj, I mean, I'm probably going to throw a little some on the submission there, as he's not the worst underdog just because grappling is his thing. And Gorimbo, though he's well-rounded, is more of a striker. Gorimbo is more explosive, has more options as far as a finishing ability, has more options in regard to finishing his opponent, has KO ability. His grappling, like I said, is not bad. He just does not lean on it to win fights. He doesn't use his grappling offensively. Wins on the feet, will continue to force this on the feet if it goes to the ground and probably knock out Ramiz. So there we go. Gorimbo, that is my pick. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, which features Khaos Williams and Carlston Harris, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting matchup here. Interesting matchup. Very, very close as far as the odds go. Khaos Williams, -125. He's the favorite. Carlston Harris, +105. Khaos Williams is 30 years of age. Carlston Harris, 36 years old, but you could have fooled me with how good he's looked recently. 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 19-5 as a pro. Sub Jeremiah Wells and went to a decision with Jared Gooden. Lost to Shavkat Rakhmonov. No shame in that. Before then beat Impa Kasangane and Christian Aguilera. So honestly, his last 5 fights, he's fought really good opponents, and 4 of those have been really good wins. Now, Khaos Williams coming onto the scene, I thought this guy was going to be unreal. He's been okay. He surely hasn't been unreal, but he does have some good wins on his resume. 6 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 6 decisions, 5-2 in the UFC. Split decision against Ronaldo Bedoya, who's 14-1. Before then beat a 10-1 guy and an 8-2 Matthew Selmsberger. Lost to Michel Pereira, no shame in that. Beat Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and he was only 10-2 at that time. Beat Alex Morono. Man, he's got some good wins in the UFC. But again, the Randy Brown loss split decision. So he lost to Randy Brown split decision. Don't like that. You should be knocking out Randy Brown. Michel Pereira, I don't mind too much, but Michel Pereira was still pretty green at that time in 2020. Carlston Harris, man, it's tough not to pick him because his grappling is so legit. And he's fought in so many good promotions and so many good opponents. 6 submissions, 5 KO TKOs, never been submitted, 8 decisions, 4-1 in the UFC, 2-1 in Brave, 3-0 in XFC, and 2-1 in Shuto. Oh man, I know he's 36 going up against a 30-year-old, but I do think Williams is going to rely on his striking a little too much. Carlston Harris will find the entry and out grapple him. We're going Carlston Harris on this one. Probably submission, to be perfectly honest. I'm going with the underdog, locking it in. Khaos Williams' power is always dangerous, but I think Harris puts it together. By the way, Oumar C on this card was supposed to fight Antonio Tricoli and Rodolfo Bellato. So ends up settling for this opponent here. All right, moving up the card. Main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, he is back in another main event. Edson Barboza against Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy is undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. 13-0-1 as a pro. He's the slight favorite at minus 150. He's 32 years of age. Beat Josh Kulibau in his last fight. Gabriel Santos before that. Amir Khani before that, but everyone beats Amir Khani. Douglas Silva de Andrade and Ricardo Ramos. 14-2, 26-3. Amir Khani will just pretend that we don't care about, because we don't. Gabriel Santos 10-0 and Josh Kulibau 11-1. So Lerone Murphy, he's been taking out really good opponents in the UFC. 7 KO TKOs, 6 decisions, 5-0-1 in the UFC. What else is there to say? He's very well rounded. Does he have that dangerous knockout power that Edson Barboza has had throughout his career and still has? No, but he knows how to put it all together. He knows how to win a fight. If he has to make it boring, he will. If he has to outpoint you, he will. But Lerone Murphy is a very smart fighter. But Edson Barboza, been there, done that. Main event fight night, former title contender, 24-11 in his pro MMA career, and he's on a little bit of a resurgence. 4-2 in his last 5 fights. Beat Shane Burgos before going on a 2-fight losing streak against Giga Chikadze and Bryce Mitchell. Decision against Bryce Mitchell, by the way. Then knocked up Billy Quarantillo and had a tremendous performance against Sadiq Youssef, where he rocked him a couple times and just beat him all around. Just beat him all around. Look, is he as quick as he once was? No. Is his timing still there? Absolutely. Is he still tough as nails? Yes. And does he still hit hard? Absolutely. Dude, Edson Barboza at 38 years old still looks very, very good. But Lerone Murphy, that's a big, big test. That is a step up from a Sadiq Youssef. That is a step up from a Billy Quarantillo. And as far as Lerone Murphy, you're taking a step up as far as fighting a guy with experience, because Kulibau, Santos, Ricardo Ramos, they're not Edson Barboza. Now, I will say Douglas Silva de Andrade has had a lot of experience as well, but again, not Edson Barboza, ladies and gentlemen. Barboza, 18-11 in the UFC, 13 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 9 decisions. And at plus 125, we're going with Barboza. I feel like these up-and-coming prospects, they always disappoint in one fight that you're like, oh, you're going up against the old fart. Of course you're going to win this one. Not against Barboza. Not against Barboza. This is the first 5-rounder for Lerone Murphy. Again, Barboza, he's been there, done that many, many times. He's got decent takedown defense, insane striking even at 38. Awesome kicks, as we know, especially that spinning heel kick. Coming off 2 great wins. Don't get me wrong, Murphy is very good, very well-rounded, but not as dangerous in his striking, not as dangerous in his one-punch power. First 5-rounder in the UFC. Probably will keep it a boring pace and drag out a close decision if Lerone Murphy wins, whereas Barboza is going to be pushing the pace, in my opinion. I'm banking on Barboza to do more damage to the body and legs or get that KO. Edson Barboza, another main event victory here. 38 years of age. Let's freaking go. That is my prediction. Let me know yours in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.